It's only been half a day since we brewed, and already we've got bubbles in the bubbler. The yeast is sort of doing its job. I've got a temperature check on it as well, and it's sort of around that 22 to 24 degrees, which is perhaps a little cool. I'm going to check a little bit on that. And wow, fantastic start. It's been a couple of days since brewing. This one is remarkably active. You could almost sit here and just watch it go. It's quite relaxing. This is great news. We'll just sort of continue to watch this, but everything seems pretty good. This is day 11, and I'm going to rack this in a few days at the weekend. And I do get the occasional blip in the airlock. It's a bit quiet now. There's been a lot of Krausen there on the top. And actually, now I'm filming, you can see there is still little bits of movement still in there. There's a lot of lease at the bottom. What I've read is that, a couple of weeks on the lease is no problem, but, more than a month on the lease, you'll start to get some of the sour flavours. So, by the time I get to the weekend, it'll be a few more days. So we'll be on around about sort of day 18 or something like that. I'm going to rack this, even though that's not in the instructions. And the reason for doing that is my history with lots of sediment in the bottles. So I want to just take my time, learn some of that patience, and just transfer it for a little while and try and let the sort of sediment settle. Good morning. We're on the Silversmith's Session Ale racking. Now, racking isn't in the instructions for this beer. However, I am going to include it just so that we can see if we can reduce the amount of sediment that I've had on previous ales. The instructions about timings are pretty vague too. So in the instructions it says ferment for a minimum of 5 days. Well, okay. Now, funny enough, I've still had, the occasional bubble through the bubbler. So, even after 16 days, there's something still going on. But there's a very thick layer of lees, which we'll have a look at in a sec, at the bottom of the fermentation vessel. So I'm going to rack it for a period of time. Now, how long a period of time am I going to rack it for? Not sure. So I'm going to give myself a 4-week window. I'm probably going to rack it at a maximum of 4 weeks and try and remain patient in that time, but actually see if we get some more clearing going on before we move to carbonation and bottling. That's the plan anyway. It's all a bit of an experiment and recording and seeing what works. So let's get to it. There's not a real lot of activity going on anymore. Moving it across the kitchen to just put it a bit higher. I did move a few bits around. Yeah, you can see there. But that's okay. New vessel. Getting used to this idea. Bit of height there. And over the sink. Everything's been sanitised. The new vessel and the auto siphon. Right, take that about 3/4-ish the way in. Can't really see it, so it's a bit of an estimate. Of course, my new demijohn is 5 litres and my old demijohn is 3.7. What I might do is just rack it for a little while, clean up the second demijohn, sterilise it all, sanitise it all, and then transfer it back. You can see a little bit of that lees came through. I could sort of see it happening, but you know, compared to the amount that's actually in there, there was a lot. Time for the hydrometer. I've decided to rack it back to the smaller sort of fermentation vessel, but having sanitised that, just waiting for that to dry a little bit for a few minutes, I was just taking a look, and interesting that already just sitting here for probably 15 minutes, there's some lees appeared at the bottom where it's sunk down. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do is use this smaller vessel in the future for sort of second stage when, as has happened today actually, we've lost probably a fair amount of liquid to the fermentation stage. So it'd be handy to have. I think I'm just going to plan ahead a little better in terms of how I use that. Racking. Take 2. This does generate a lot of extra washing up there. Problem number 2. The racking cane, auto siphon, doesn't fit to the bottom of these jars. Damn. Despite my auto siphon problems, that's still quite a lot left at the bottom in terms of not only beer, but at least 2. I was moving the location of the session ale and I had a bit of a surprise. Now it's day 22 and temperature is around 20 degrees, and it's day 6 that is being racked. And one of the things that we've been looking at is, of course, degassing, which normally would be done with a paddle in just stir it around. And I thought, you know, one of the things I'd give a try is just to sort of see if there are any gases, and I was very surprised how many there were. So I've left it a day since I moved it, and I'm just going to sort of show you again. So I'm going to give it just a little bit of a gentle swirl, try and simulate as much as I can what that stirring would be, and a surprising number of gases came off. And many of those gases you know, apparently can cause some of the off flavour, so that's why we degas over time. So sort of still a bit new to this, but this is what I've been doing. You will see some activity in the bubbler when this happens. So if I just give it a gentle swish, nothing happens. Maybe it was just when I moved it yesterday